Today, I, Shivang Joshi, co-founder at Law Community, welcomes another great personality, Mr. Suvidutt Sundaram. He is an advocate on record practicing in Supreme Court of India, also the founder and managing partner of Outsay Legal. Since 2007, he is engaged in litigation, arbitration, and mediation. He practices in all tribunals, courts, and commission based in Delhi. Welcome, sir, to have an interaction with us and to know more about his journey. So, hello, sir. Welcome to Law Community. Sir, my first question is, how did you make up your mind for pursuing career in law, and whether there was any planning involved while taking the step for this?
I did my law from Government Law College, Thrissur. It's in Kerala. So I did my 5-year law, and it's an integrated course. You have BA with LLB. So after completion, in fact, my point is before completion, like my father was, very keenly, like advising me, why don't you pursue civil service? So I said, it's okay, fine, I have no issues. And being academically more inclined, and very much, I was a rank holder in the university. Then my father said, better you pursue a career in civil service. Uh, Considering his advice, I made up my mind, okay, why not I go to Delhi? Then I, went to Delhi and started my coaching there. After, one or two, unsuccessful attempts, I decided, why not I get into litigation? Since getting back to Kerala was a matter of embarrassment, and like everyone would be asking me, why would someone who went to Delhi with an aspiration of being a civil servant has returned to Kerala? So that thought, in fact, prompted me to take a firm decision that I will stay back in Delhi itself. Instead, rather than coming back to Kerala and then start practice in Kerala High Court, which is a very good court. So I decided, why not? Okay, fine, I'll start in Supreme Court. So with a good reference, I started my career, litigational career, in a law firm named as Newly and Newly. This law firm is one among the top, fastest and busiest law firms. And the proprietor, the founder is named Anand Sanjay Nuli. So I started my career under him. He in fact was a junior of Gopal Subramaniam. So he in fact gave me a good direction as to how this is all about. Litigation, it requires a little more longer gestational phase, so one need to be very patient. So he gave me an idea as to how this really functions. And even with my observance, like I had a good observation skills when I was a junior. So I understood like how he communicates with his clients. Whenever a phone call comes, what sort of restraint he keep, like how he you don't tell everything, and we become very professional with the clients. So these are the concerns, he gave priority, and I absorbed it everything in its right sense. Then I thought, well, litigation is the thing that I belong to. I don't have any other career option. I don't have to look back. No civil service or nothing is meant for me. I finally decided that I will stay in litigation, howsoever hard the path may be. Okay. And after some time, I left his good office, and then thereafter I joined another office named as DKJ Legal Solution under one Mr. Deepak Kumar Jena. He's an advocate on record. So I could compensate a lot of things which I didn't understand actually under, when I was working under Anand Sanjanuli, because this sir was an AO, advocate on record. So I could clearly make out as to how, what are the functions of an AOR and all. And then initially, like when I was learning a lot of things, uh, parallelly I used to get calls. I used to get calls and inquiries from uh, Kerala, because I am basically from Kerala. So primarily my calls and my connections were it was from Kerala. So then I slowly understood, like in fact it's your connections where it is, from there only the litigation begins. So then I decided, okay, I think it's time that I become independent. I go independent, and then I started my independent practice. Uh, so after that, it was actually a very different what do you call for that, a phase of your life. Uh, Once you become independent, you have a lot of time. You are not fully preoccupied, because when you were, I mean, when you are a junior, right from morning to evening you are fully in somebody's office. You have a lot of work, drafting, research. You have to go and attend the courts. But once you become independent, once, so I mean, like some calls you will get, probably one or two cases you have, then you do it in full, diligently, because you have very limited case in your hand. So you give your full 100% in research, in drafting. So even when cases are there in the court, you wake up early morning, and you go to the court, uh, you know 2 hours before. And one, I used to sit in the court, because in the anticipation that, oh yeah, this is my first case or second case or third case, like that anticipation that made you go early and sit in the court. So good preparation, everything I used to do. And gradually I thought, I have a lot of time to fill it up. Okay, then I decided, why not I do my LLM. So I did my LLM from Amity University. So when I was an independent lawyer, so it was a 1 year course. So it just went off quickly, and I could get an LLM. So when I was doing my LLM in Amity, so there was there was talks going on, like once you clear your L masters, you have this option of UGC net. So most of the people were preparing for that. Okay, so I got to know from them only, like, okay, yeah, there is something called as UGC net. Once you clear that, you don't have to write any entrance for getting into any universities for for this PhD program. Well, I took their advice. Then I started, just for I think 2 weeks I prepared. Since I have that flair of litigation also, I'm good in fundamentals of law and practice. It really helped me out. And then I wrote the exam and I cleared it. Okay, so technically I uh, became an assistant professor. Okay, that really gave me a boost. And in my confidence, that why not I actually do something more in the academical sphere. So I joined in Amity itself for PhD. It's in election laws. So now, right now, I'm writing my thesis, and it's almost over. So this is how I started my career, my academics. Then, as an independent lawyer, I did. I mean, I could be a part of, like so many major judgments and cases. right from, adultery, because I was the one who filed that case challenging the provision of adultery. So that was one of the milestone I have. And the referring lawyer, one Mr. Advocate Kalisharam Raj, he is the one who referred that case, and he was the one who argued the matter before the constitutional bench. So I filed it, and did some good research. So it was a good experience. Apart from that, in my independent litigation career, I could, boast myself that, okay, I am a part of Shabarimala case also, because I represent the royal family. I filed writ petitions for one for the Pandalam royal family members. They are the one who constructed the Shabarimala temple. So we are for the tradition. We oppose the any women entry. Between these two ages, I mean age group of like 10 to 50. So this Shabarimala case is also another milestone in my career. And J. Sai Deepak, he is the one whom I engaged, and he is the counsel who argued that matter. So these are the two cases, landmark cases, and apart from that, there are several cases I could be part of, and this is how, like, from my civil service to a litigation, working as a junior, and then going as an independent lawyer, then doing my academics, in LLM, Ph.D. Then my litigation career with a lot of good cases, and this is how I am right now before you.
So, sir, my next question is, what stimulated you to start the Outsay Legal, and what are the broad functions that tackled in your firm?
See, Outsay Legal is a concept. I conceptualized some time back. Like when I became independent, I thought I should have a law firm, but law firm requires a lot of uh, aspects, a lot of factors. So it is not a one-man show, because a firm is something, um, it's like under one umbrella, you have few people working, and all those people are specialized in their own fields, or maybe they all are experts in their own specialized domain. So this is how a firm functions. Otherwise, you can call yourself as a independent lawyer, or you're just running an advocate's office. Okay. So initially, I was having a idea of starting a law firm. But see, as I said just now, that law firm requires good partners. Law firm requires expertise. You can't all of a sudden start a law firm just by becoming independent lawyer. So I became independent somewhere in 2000 12 end. So we can say like 2013 onwards, I was a full swing, full-fledged independent lawyer. But it took a lot of time. It took almost 6-7 years to actually enroll, or for me to discover good partners. Okay. Like at least I can say, like, in at least for 5 years, I was just having an office. Okay. But I came across one Mr. Venkat Raman. Venkat Ji, I call him. So he is a chartered accountant. He is based in Chennai. And another partner, she is Anu, and she is based in Kerala. Now she is shuttling between. So these two partners, in fact, they are experts in their own domain. Okay. So therefore, I decided, okay, why not we just enroll them, or get into their get into our fold and start this law firm, Outsay Legal. And then I started Outsay Legal. And thereafter, I was having having exposure with these corporate matters. Then corporate clients came in. So we used to take care of the intellectual property, all the intellectual property laws, and everything, and banking laws. A lot of banks became our clients, and so these are the major changes which took place after I set up Outsay Legal. And we wish that Outsay Legal actually start branches. So that's what we are aspiring for in other parts of this country. Let's see how it works. But anyway, it's a very what do you call for that? It's a very small law firm, but we are ambitious to explore and expand it in different parts of India and abroad also.
Okay, sir. So my next question is, you have worked closely with the several large corporate groups, investors, and private equity firms. What are the things that an advocate should keep in mind while dealing with such an organization?
Mm, See, major corporate clients always they're very professionals. They're unlike the independent, individual clients, because individual clients they may vary in their temperaments, although but you can deal with them. Probably you can call them or call. I mean, if you miss their call, you can call back very lately, uh, or belated. Mails or messages. Sometimes you may overlook, or you can do it. I mean, get back to them a little late, but that is not possible with a corporate client. Corporate clients, they are expecting everything right now. You have to email the orders. You have to inform them that okay, this date is going to come. So small nitty gritty things which you have to always keep in mind, and you have to report them so that transparency is maintained. Not only transparency is maintained, you keep them updated, or keep them posted so promptly that they are not fed up, like they don't have to wait. So this is one thing we have to keep in mind. Any lawyer, any litigation lawyer or non-litigation lawyer, you have to keep in mind that corporates have less time. You have to get back to them as quick as possible. This is one thing. Number two is like, see, normally you are a retainer sort of counsel. So corporate litigation work is like general litigation, and they always ask you like we want to engage a senior advocate. So in 90% of the cases, you don't have to argue. You have to brief a senior lawyer. So briefing a senior lawyer is one of the major, part of dealing with the corporate clients. So in my experience, like 90, more than 90, I can tell you that they never, take a chance or take a risk of, giving you that case and giving you to argue, because they always tell that, see, please engage a senior lawyer. Just inquire what are their fees, and please let us know. And this is how it is. So I used to brief them. I used to engage them, and then help them in like argue this argue the matters. So these are the two things, like prompt reply, or prompt getting back to them, and engaging senior lawyers. That proficiency also need to be uh, built up. I mean, that is also a art, because just by doing some research or maybe drafting, that does not make you a complete lawyer. Briefing a senior lawyer is also an art, because first thing is they have a paucity of time. So paucity of time, considering a senior advocate, is a major factor which you have to consider. You can't keep on telling, or narrating, or explaining the case just 1 or 2 days before the case. And you have to be very to the point. You have to be very laconic. Okay, these are the concerns. I mean, these are the things that you have to bear in mind before briefing a senior lawyer. So this art also you have to inculcate. before, I mean, while you are actually an independent lawyer, this is a very important task that you have. So that's all.
So, sir, my next question is: social media has become such a huge part of our life. People are being bombarded with every kind of information, and it is becoming difficult to keep a check on what's right and what's wrong in all this situation. So, and it usually spreads animosity towards certain groups or people. So, what is your opinion on it, and what steps we can take to regulate this thing?
Well, see, there was a talk that I gave in one, business school. There, this almost a, a similar topic was given to me. I was, invited, to, asked to speak on that. See, the point I even told them in just one sentence was, uh, see, there is a saying of, Gautam Buddha, which says that uh, don't speak unless you can improve upon silence. So the point is, uh, you don't have to always express your opinions, or always express whatever you want to tell, in the social media. You have to keep a restraint. You have to be silent. You have to just observe, what are the, happenings around, and just talk, that is very relevant. You don't always have an opinion. I mean, you don't have to be an opinionated person. Okay. Although generally Indians are very argumentative. Amartya Sen rightly said that, we all are argumentative Indians. That's because, I hope you know it, in the starting passage of this argumentative Indian, um, like V.K. Krishna Menon spoke in the United Nations for 9 hours regarding Kashmir issue, and that 9 hours at a stretch speech in the United Nations is a symbolic thing that Indians, can speak on a subject continuously for 9 hours, and he, Amartya Sen started his book by, telling that see, this is just a sample that Indians are basically argumentative. And once this social, I mean, what do you call, for the technology, technologically we all became very literate, and we have this smartphones and gadgets and Twitter and micromedia, I mean, these micro blogging sites were actually at place. Then we felt like we can express anything and everything. So this has in fact led to a sort of what do you call, for that, a platform for hatred. So, and when it comes to, I mean, law, like, legally curtailing all these, uh, see, cyber hate is in fact a major challenge in the, I mean, for the, government, and also for the state missionary. There should be a lot of softwares. I mean, see, just like, someone says that, um, you know, poison can be countered with poison only. So if anything is there, if any problem is there with the technology, you have to counter with technology. So poison is like, antidote is there, right? The same way, if anything is happening wrong in technology, or in that media, so definitely technology, you have to find out which can identify hatred, which can identify hateful post. There can be artificial intelligence also. You can take the help of it, and which can identify, wherever hateful messages are being, posted, or maybe a particular post, if probably it's a lie, or probably does not have the authenticity or veracity. uh, that particular post may have a hidden file or maybe a something wherein the author's name or the device name can be entailed or intact. So that makes, like, you can track that, okay, this is the message or this is the post which was initially posted by Mr. X or Mr. Y, and it is from that particular domain, or maybe it is from that particular device this was generated. So you can easily track it. So technology can actually uh, track cyber hate. So my point is, state machinery should equip themselves with this novel technological I mean, and innovative softwares and these things, so that it can counter these ills and evils spreading in our society. Why I'm telling this is because people may or may not keep a restraint. People may or may not be silent, because I started answering this question by saying that if you can improve silence, then you speak. But that need not be the case always with everyone. People may speak unnecessarily. So people may lie. People may have the intention to hurt someone. So with, if that is the case, then state has to come into picture. Technology has to be at place to counter all these menace in our society.
So, but don't you think ki, hate speech, where do we draw the line in the Department of Hate Speech? Because it's very debatable thing ki what can be a hate speech and what cannot be.
See, my PhD topic is actually regarding this hate speech. Uh, in fact, my specific topic is hate speech for electoral gain. Okay, now your question, I just hit to your question. I'll just answer to that. Hate speech is, it is unlike defamatory speeches. It is unlike penal, what do you call for that, offenses, which is something to do with speech. Because in IPC you have the definition of defamation, and that defamation is something altogether different. Because if I say something against somebody, uh, it becomes, and that too in front of someone or a third person, it becomes a defamatory speech. But hate speech is not like that. Hate speech is against, not against uh, a particular individual. It is actually against a social group. Hate speech may be like against a race, against a caste, against a religion, against nationality, ethnicity, or maybe disability. Like, if you say something against a handicapped person. So, hate speech, any speech that is against a social group, regarding ethnicity, nationality, caste, creed, color, region, religion, uh, whatever, race, whatever. So, this is what is hate speech. Now, how to counter hate speech? It again has a test. Supreme Court, and even courts beyond India has laid down several tests. A simple test that now we are actually following is, uh, just by saying something does not amount to hate speech. It should lead to a sort of violence, or maybe some sort of it should incite people to commit an offense. So this particular aspect is very relevant when you when you make someone conviction. I mean, what do you call for, like, when you punish someone, this particular point need to be considered. See, even like, there is a criticism which says that, like, when, how many people are there, or how many people have been convicted under hate speech laws in India. See, there are very, very few people. There are very, very few people. The reason is, uh, the prosecution machinery in India lacks that willingness to take up such cases, because generally people who is the one who actually come with this hate speeches. It's generally the politicians. Generally, they are the ones who, in the campaign, electoral campaign, they in public platform, they indulge in all these hate speeches and insightful comments. So generally police may not book them, because it is actually the state machinery who we have to blame for, and then they have to take the responsibility. They are not actually uh, taking all these people into like their legal fold. So that is one drawback that we have. Another drawback, see, that which I'm actually trying to which I actually got from my research. Like, there is a study, there is a statistics which will be like very shocking, that the people who indulge in hate speech, they have 3 times chance of winning an election. The people who don't indulge in the hate speech, they are having more chance of losing their election. So this particular fact I have actually covered in my research, and so this is also another tempting factor for any politician to indulge in more hate speech, and that's what we see. Now and then, whenever an election is at the around the corner, you can see several numerous instances where politicians or campaigners or maybe their electoral agents, they indulge in all these hate speech. Okay, this is another thing. And lastly, I'll tell you something very interesting, like apart from the more chance of winning an election because you indulge in hate speech, another factor is regarding the definition part. What exactly is hate speech? I just said in my own words before I started answering this question. But see, Law Commission of India has proposed, I mean, they have come out with a report, uh, titled "Hate Speech." Okay. See, in that they tried to define hate speech, because till date, nowhere in no Indian legislation or no statute, nowhere this term has been defined. So again, when it comes to definition, we have a dicey, we have a very confused, state of mind before, concluding that somebody has actually indulged in a, hate speech spree. So these are the challenges, major challenges we have as a state, as a missionary, and as an individual or maybe a researcher. I have found certain things that we have to address probably in coming years. We would be dealing this on serious footing, because in other countries, hate speech and statute, when it comes to statute or legislation, they have done a far more things in comparison with India. India, we have to move a lot in this in this regard.
Okay, sir. So my next question is, you have drafted a private member bill, such as Anglo-Indian bill. So, despite being laws for the minority, there is certain lacking of sensitization. So, how can we curb this situation, and what measures do you suggest in this?
Uh, One was an Anglo Indians welfare bill that I drafted. That was for the former MP, um, Richard Hay. Okay, Richard Hay. So I discussed at length with him, like what are the challenges that we have, what are we actually facing, because he said, Anglo Indians, that community, because the number of people within the Anglo Indian community, they are gradually moving out to other parts of the country, I mean, of the world. The reason being, they are not given proper mm, opportunity, I mean, because they are disregarded in many spheres. And finally, we came with a solution through this bill that we should give, we should start a exclusive university for Anglo-Indian community, and probably schools we have to start. So educational institutions are primarily given importance in that bill. And another aspect is like, you should have, you should encourage uh, Anglo Indians, their trade fairs, their cultural relevance need to be highlighted in our society, so that we ourselves are aware that, well, there are artistic or cultural, or maybe traditional wise, a lot of aspects are there, which we couldn't understand or comprehend till now. So such awareness building through such trade fairs, or maybe some festivals, local festivals organized by the state government, or maybe with the help of some NGOs, can actually boost the confidence, and boost their morale level, so that they are retained in India, because they are an asset. So this is just one aspect. I mean, just I'm not elaborating on this. So this is one thing that we have to bear in mind. Another, I mean, regarding your question, like generally minorities see, uh, law is a social instrument. So therefore, we have to come with bills, we have to come with statutes, so that it brings social change. Sometimes changes can't happen all of a sudden, or maybe a change can't happen in our probably one or two deliberations does not suffice for that, because probably an elite class or elite club, or maybe an intellectual people may discuss all these uh, aspects, and then we may suggest something, but at the ground level, at the outside your air conditioned room, things are not happening. We are just keeping on discussing, what I see in Twitter and what I see in social media. Like, there are so many people, intelligent people, just expressing a lot of things, but something has to be on on reality, some materialistic thing, something, you should give shape to the ideas. So those things are not happening. So statute, or a piece of legislation can bring a lot of changes in one particular direction, if you really wish to make change. So regarding protecting the interest of minorities, you should come with good laws. You should come with some good judgments. Whenever court have that opportunity, they should come with they should enhance, not enhance, they should empower these minority groups, is possible.
So, sir, my next question is, COVID pandemic has affected almost all the sectors of our country. So, organizations and people have tried to adjust through work from home, or through virtual systems also. So, legally speaking, what certain laws can be implemented as a precautionary measures if the similar scenario can occur in the future?
See, uh, this is the first time, I mean, like everyone, I'm also undergoing this thing. I, but I learned a lot of things. Uh, anyway, on a funny note, I can tell what Jack Ma said the other day. Jack Ma, the CEO of Alibaba, he was telling that if you can actually land in 2021 January 1st and celebrate this new year of 2021, and if you're alive, then you are lucky. Then that means then you are successful, because the point is being alive in 2020 is the you can celebrate. Okay, so right now what I understood in the last say 100 plus days, more than 300, I mean more than 3 months of lockdown and all these what do you call for that, social distancing and stuffs. uh, Litigation has in fact, I mean it has actually hit the bottom. But I'll tell you, litigation not for all. The 20 percentage of the top lawyers, I mean the top entire population, they are still safe. We don't have any problem. The 20 percentage at the bottom, they, I think most of them, I was told from Mumbai, and even I got reports, like, I went through some reports saying that people who migrated to Mumbai and, other metros with the ambition of, establishing themselves as a, good lawyers, they have returned back to their respective places, their hometowns and their villages. So there are like a 20 percentage lawyers, or maybe the lawyers population altogether. Say, I think there are like 20 lakh lawyers in India. Okay. So out of that 20 lakh lawyers, bottom 20 percentage is, very unfortunate that, they couldn't make up or, they couldn't even foresee this thing, that if in case what happened, like, if courts are all closed down. Okay, so they were not prepared for this. Well, the top 20 and the middle, they are okay. They have no issues. They will be, making up probably in some time. And now, what message, or what I understood from this is PD, this very extraordinary period of COVID-19. Uh, Technology is a, what do you call for that, technology, if you actually keep abreast, or maybe if you're actually very friendly and if you're very accustomed with the technological updates, then definitely I'm telling you, you are here to stay. If you divorce from the technological advancement, or maybe the example, like like the Zoom calls, or maybe all these video conferencing mode, or maybe like using the internet in the best possible way, probably searching cases, or maybe searching case laws, or maybe some other factual aspects, or maybe very small thing, a small example I can cite. For example, nowadays in Supreme Court, what happened is, you upload PDF files. Now PDF files, some are scanned documents, some are converted from Word to PDF. See, minor things are there which lawyers, educated lawyers, people who claim themselves that I'm very a tech savvy lawyer and all, they don't know. Like, they don't know how to paginate a PDF file. They don't know how to merge two PDF files. They don't know how to take one particular PDF file and insert in between a say a 50 pages PDF file. So the point is, you have to be tech savvy in these respects. Like, you have to be an expert in how to actually file a case with respect to a PDF file. Just just not like like you know how to use Word, MS, of Office. That does not make you a good lawyer. So this these challenging times require some sort of new skills. So you have to be an expert in PDF. Now, coming to the scanning part, there are so many things, like how people nowadays clients send these documents scanned, because myself, as any lawyer would ask your client, please send all the documents in scanned form. So now scanned form copies will be big size. Probably they don't know how to mail it, because mail has got a limit. Now the scanned documents need to be, you have to tell your client, please adopt this technology or mechanism, so that these bulky files can be transferred, or mailed, or not mailed, some other way of transferring to lawyer's office. So transferring big files or scanning. Again, scanning is it requires the gadgets, scanners are required, hi-fi things are required, or maybe, these are the things earlier you were not giving, this, much importance. But now this 20 percentage top lawyers and that bottom, say now 20 plus, what do you call for that, 60, 80 percentage lawyers now have this, they have to practice and be an expert in these areas. Okay, so I would simply in short I can tell that expert in documentation, that too in a software level, all these soft documents, scanning, converting to PDF, paginating a PDF file, inserting pages into PDF documents, marking the PDF files. Or I just forgot to tell you the major aspect. See, when your laptop or maybe a desktop has got a particular space, now storage is also a very important aspect. If you ask a photographer, what challenge does he have, he will tell the first is storage. Any photographer you ask, because each and every photo you take from a DSLR camera is a huge size. So nobody can store thousands and thousands and thousands photos in their laptop. Every laptop has got a limited storage space. It can be 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, but then see, after 5 years or 10 years, again you may require these files, these photographs. See, any photographer will be have to get back to their initial photos. Same way lawyer, uh, 10 years back, because anyway this case is going to continue in their office. So you can't delete these files, you have to retain all these in a particular folder. So storage in an iCloud or maybe a cloud is also a very important aspect, because even during this lockdown only I have purchased cloud space and all to store my files, because I have external hard disks, external hard disks I have is full, it's in terabytes. So photos, videos, these what do you call for that, PDF files. See, it's a huge. So you have to put some things in iCloud so that my juniors can actually access it, probably in a Google Drive, or they're like things. So generally what I'm trying to say is, you have to be technologically up to date, because what the current times demand, you have to, because few years back these things were not having any relevance, because everything was hard copy, everything was in papers. Now even Supreme Court has come with a new software, and very soon they will be rolling out and implementing that software. Because I was attending the webinar session the other day, so I got to know that all the 17,000 courts in India, they are going to connect it. Uh, so the point is, their intention is to make the judicial setup paperless. So if Chief Justice and Justice, Chief Justice along with Justice, Chandrachud, they are the one who has embarked into this novel mission to make it paperless, then can't we lawyers get adapted or adopt all these novel technological advancement? We have to, otherwise we will fall into that bottom 20 percentage who are actually struggling. Okay, so my point is, uh, keep keep that, what do you call for that, you should be always keep pace with the new technological advancement, and then only your litigation practice or non-litigation practice can flourish. Otherwise it will be a huge challenge. You will be like, it's like a competition which you cannot, it will be very expensive for you. That's all I can tell.
So, sir, my last question: what advice or some suggestion would you like to give to the people who have just started their career in law, or the students who are still studying?
See, the budding lawyers, there are like two things. Like, if you are in law college, you should always inculcate the habit of reading. Because I spent my 5 years in my law college reading a lot of stuffs. I at least, like 2 3 books I used to read uh, every month. So roughly you can say, like, in 1 week or 2 weeks I will read one book. But I don't like to read novels, or I don't, those things I don't like. I like reading books written by Justice V.R. Krishna here, because I consider him as my guru. Even I met him once. So Justice V.R. Krishna here, he was a legend. So I was so inspired. So I used to write a lot of things which are related to socio-legal topics. So whenever I write, I take inspiration from Krishna's writing, and I have a flyer of like Krishna's style of writing. I even now I keep that, because in my earlier see, when I was in my early 20s, I entered the law college. So uh, now I am in my mid 30s. I'm so for the last say 15 16 years, not 15 16, 18 years, almost 18 years. uh, I used to read this Krishna's book. I almost say 30 35 books I have read Krishna's book. So I have my flair, my writing style is also like him. So most of the people tell me, like, your writing is like a Krishna style and all. But I feel very humble when somebody tell me that. So the point is, when you are in law college, read a lot, read judgments, read the opinions of great lawyers, their books. Okay, that will forge. I mean, that will just give up, make up your mind, because you will be oriented in that way. um, After becoming a after you be a lawyer, or after your enrollment and all, what you have to do is go and sit in the courts, observe how lawyers are actually arguing. Okay, these days it's in virtual courts, virtual hearings are going on. People don't have that, they're not fortunate enough to watch the lawyers argue, because art of advocacy is always in the court. Action is in the court. uh, Judges ask questions and you answer. Probably sometimes it may happen like you're not prepared to answer that question, but then your advocacy skills that you have developed make you answer in the best possible way, so that you convince the their lordships. Always bear in mind that persuading the judges in the most shortest way, in the most laconic way is the art of advocacy. Never try to take much time in answering, whenever a question is put to you by the judges. Okay, so if you are a lawyer practicing, just started, or a budding lawyer, go to court, and I'll tell you, start your practice in trial court. Okay, see, I started my career, although in Supreme Court, I was having matters in trial court, I was having matters in High Court, I was having matters in tribunals, consumer courts, all these, all the forums that is available in Delhi. Okay, so I was aware like what's happening in trial court. What I was aware of what's happening in, right from trial court to Supreme Court. So, but if somebody actually want to practice, just stay for some time in the trial court, uh, get the fundamentals, or learn the fundamentals, then go to High Court also. I won't tell them that you stay there for years and years. No, the point is, see, wherever you are, you actually build up a network. So if you stay in one particular court for too long, then you feel comfortable like in there. See, if you are in trial court, see, 1 or 2 years means it's a huge time. Actually, within a 1 year, you have to actually learn a lot of things as quick as possible, and then move to High Court. In a matter of like say 2-3 years, you have to learn quick, because 5 years, after 5 years, you have an advocate on record examination also waiting in the Supreme Court. So by the time you have to reach Supreme Court, you have to learn like 1 or 2 years, work as a junior there also somewhere, so you have to get into a good office. So you have to always set a deadline, or set a mark that 5 years is the ideal time for becoming independent lawyer. Never be a junior advocate beyond 5 years. You have to have that courage to take a call that I'm going to be independent after 5 years. I can't be a lawyer beyond that. I mean, a junior advocate beyond that. Okay, so this thing, any lawyer who is actually new into practice have to always keep in mind, and inculcate this habit of reading. Reading newspaper does not make you knowledgeable. It's just a waste, reading newspapers. Okay, even watching television news, it's a sheer waste. For news updates and all, you can just follow all these small, what do you call for that, these updates, like in Twitter, or maybe they're like just keep on updating. Don't get into the depths. These are all factual things. Okay, what you actually want is the fundamentals, the knowledge of law. So for that, you have to read good books. For that, you have to have what do you call for that? You should read judgments. Okay, you should do some research whenever you get an opportunity. Whenever you're senior, or whenever you're assigned with some work, go through the related matters, or go through the connected cases, go through the statutes, bare acts, go through. So that makes a good lawyer. Okay, go to court, watch the proceedings. Okay, and I'll tell you, once you become independent, it's a new ball game. You should have contacts, networks. Uh, just because you have a LinkedIn, what do you call for that, a page, or a LinkedIn account, that does not make, that does not give you cases. People always have this misconception that you just paste, or you just what do you call for that, post a lot of your achievements or your professional things in LinkedIn, people will get to know about you. No, it's not like that. Actually, you should uh, you know get into the social life. For example, I'm just telling, okay, people may not accept, but I'm just telling, if somebody invites you for a marriage, you have to attend. If somebody invites you for a talk, or maybe a book launch, see, any social gathering, try to find time for going there. Just meet few people. Just always show your face that, oh yeah, I just introduce yourself. I'm a lawyer. I'm practicing in so and so court. Okay, so in a span of say 5 years, what we will get is ultimately a good social capital. You will have good personal one-on-one, network. That is more important for you to get cases, not a fictional, reality wherein you have an account in the LinkedIn, or see, people don't trust you, because trust is very important for any client to give case to you. Credibility matters. Okay, for that, one-on-one face-to-face meeting, because then only the client will tell that, we are, the other day I met that that lawyer, why not I give a call to that person and inquire. Probably 10 calls you may get, and the first 9 calls will be just for inquiry purpose. The 10th call will be a case for you. Okay, so this is how you network. Not only limit yourself to LinkedIn. Okay, and another aspect I would want to tell you, and by that I can conclude myself, is make sure that you meet every year 50, at least 50 new people in every year. Okay, make sure at least 50 people, new people. You may be having your schoolmates, college mates, you may be having your relatives, your family members, your colleagues. But see, you are connected. You are well connected in Facebook, in LinkedIn, or maybe in many platforms. Okay, but new people, strangers, because that you will meet probably in a restaurant, or maybe in a bank, where you are just standing in a queue, and you just meet somebody, or so wherever you go, probably in an event or maybe in a function, you meet people, and just retain that contact. Don't just forget them, because you should always keep in mind that your task is like at least 50 new people have to save your number. You have to save 50 people's number every year, minimum. I'm talking minimum. So in a span of 5 years, what will happen is those 50 people will refer your name to another 4 people. Say every 50 into 4 is 200. So in 1 year, it's like 50 became 200. In 2 years, 50 plus 50, that is 100. 100 into 4 is 400. So you yourself don't know the mathematics, or maybe the how it, the geometric proportion it is going. So the contact is not in LinkedIn. Contact is actually in real terms. Okay, so these are the things which we have to keep in mind. So you always, so this is the advice that I will give for a uh, lawyer, budding lawyer. In few years time, definitely they will be uh, you know full swing lawyers, because in the meantime, corporates, individual clients, NGOs, um, referring lawyers from high courts, district courts, tribunals, they all will be in your contact list. And then that's how you become established. Because, and one more thing I'll tell you lastly, never ever go for publicity, always go for reputation, because publicity is a short term, this thing. Don't always, people should see me, people should, watch my videos, or I'm in the TV, I'm in the news channel debating on, some topics. No, you can go, you may go, but your job is not, you should be seen in court rather than always in the TV. Okay, once in a while, no harm. You can go, you can appear, and people will think that, oh yeah, he is, being invited, by the media channels. He is a good lawyer. So that sort of goodwill will be there among your friend circle, or maybe, those people who, know you. Okay. So the point is, gradually, the name and fame that you get, or, that's what is reputation. That stays for long. So always think in this way, that I should be a reputed lawyer, not a lawyer for publicity, simply by, filing some PILs, or, simply by, that is not the motivating thing, any lawyer, a budding lawyer should have. Okay, because I have come across many times, like, many people tell, Suvi, why don't you file this PILs? Well, I said, please, frivolous PILs, I'm sorry. Okay, some good cases you come with, I will also entertain, I will also help. Okay, so this is the, these are the things which any budding lawyer should keep in mind, and be always truthful and honest to the clients, whether you are in corporate, or you are only purely in litigation. Be honest, and that definitely will add on to your reputation, and you will be eventually rewarded. And as I always say, that money is just a byproduct in our profession. We are not here for making money. Money just come like that. Okay, we should always go behind work. We should always be in search of cases and clients, so that money just, follows us. Okay, so these are the priorities that we should keep in mind. I hope this will fetch a good, result in the long run.
Thank you very much, sir, for having an amazing interaction with us. It will definitely gonna benefit a lot of young minds. I hope that we can do such kind of interviews in future also with you. It was really great learning. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Pleasure. It was a pleasure talking to you.